Here's the Yom Yom for today, and we'll do tomorrow also. These are sayings by the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. The previous Rebbe said about his father, coldness and indifference, and heresy, idolatry, are separated by a very slender barrier. In other words, to be cold, indifferent to God, to life, to everything. Let's say you do the commandments. We're talking about religious Jews. The Rebbe is talking to his followers. You're doing the commandments, you pray, you do everything, but you're cold. You're cold. You haven't got any light. You do it because, nothing better to do. You do it by rote. So as a person that's cold and heresy and coming to this level where you say that, maybe I'm just wasting my time. Maybe there's no God whatsoever. What am I doing all this stuff for? Coldness and heresy are separated by a very slender veil. Very easy to go over from one to the other. Why? Because it says God is a consuming fire. Godliness is a flame of fire. It's alive, dynamic. Learning Torah and prayer has to be with a blazing heart, that all of my bones should utter the words of God in Torah and prayer. Why? Simply for the reason that if God is creating me, if I think I'm important at all, or if anything is important, well, that thing is not as real as God is. God is creating everything. God is the source of all life. So serving God should just be repaying God and appreciating God for giving me life and for creating me and for giving me eyes and ears and mouth and nose and creating the whole entire world, right? God is incomprehensibly good. So it should be with a tremendous, God is also incomprehensibly awesome and powerful. So serving God should be with excitement. You're doing something that's meaningful and exciting, new. It should be. But if it's not, then what you do get excited about is about yourself. Or you just become depressed in general about life. And that leads a person to the opposite of life, heresy, and God forbid, not good things. So therefore, excitement is of prime importance in Judaism, appreciating what God is and getting excited about it. That's today's. Now let's do tomorrow's. Tomorrow's is, there's a custom eating buckwheat on Shabbos. This Shabbos was Tu B'Shvat. Our Tu B'Shvat already, that was yesterday. And the Tzemach Tzedek said a Maamar, which is printed in Likutei Torah. Afterwards, he said to his son, my grandfather said this Maamar, a Hasidic discourse. Afterwards, he sent for me, and he said, when he was in Mezrich, the Maggid has also said this room. He said, on Parshat B'Shalach, the Baal Shem Tov said, a Maamar said a Hasidic discourse, and he said, Vayeshev ha'am le'etano, that the river returned back to its condition, that God made a condition with the sea, with the water, that it would split when the Jews left Egypt. And when the sea did split, so that gave an extra power, le'etano, to the existence of water in the world. It says le'etano. It says a year after the Baal Shem Tov's passing, the Baal Shem Tov came to me. This is the Maggid of Mezrich, his pupil, and he said this Maamar about the splitting of the sea. And he said there's a difference between doing his will and doing his word. Anyway, today the Rebbe came to me and he repeated the Maamar. The idea is all of these Maamorim that we read and what we're reading about in Torah Or, and there's thousands and thousands of these Hasidic discourses that are said, they're all very exact. It's not just that the Rebbe, had an inspiration and he wrote a nice song, he wrote a nice words, like popular songs are written, or a poem, a nice poem. He just, these are very, very exact. The Maamorim that are said, and the discourses that were given over by the Rebbe's were very, very exact to explain something in the spiritual worlds and to bring a new revelation of godliness into some aspect of the physical world. Anyway, so the Maamars were very exact, and they were repeated by the Rebbe's exactly. And he also added there's a Gemara, which is where in Tana, is it in Tainus? I don't remember, to tell you the truth. Tainus, there it goes. In Chulin, I'm sorry. Pinchas ben, it's in Gemara in Chulin, and it says that Pinchas ben Yair, he went over to a river, and the river was standing in his way. He had to go somewhere. And he said, river split. And the river said that I was created by God to flow, and that's my job. And he said, but I was created by God as a human being to change the world. And if you don't listen to me, God will dry you up. And so the river, which had nature, had to change its nature for the sake of Pinchas ben Yair the Tzaddik. The Tzemach Tzedek concludes, the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Rebbe of Chabad, which that's about 150 years ago. He said, today the Baal Shem Tov and the Magid and the Alter Rebbe, that they all passed away, they all came to me, each repeating this Maamar about the splitting of the sea in his own style. Several hours later, the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Rebbe of Chabad, called my grandfather again, that's his son, and told him another interpretation of this Maamar. And now we'll learn the Devar Malchut, a story.